Hey Shepherd family, this is Pastor Scott Seidler. I hope this Wednesday, March 18th is finding you well. I hope whatever day you may listen to this little devotional finds you doing well. We've been praying for you as a staff, and I thank you for praying for us. We are hard at work trying to understand what it means to follow Jesus. Follow is the name of the simple sermon series we've been making our way through these past couple months here at Shepherd. We've been painting a picture of what it means to respond to the invitation that Jesus gave to his disciples when he said, just simply, "Come follow me." Following is a little different, isn't it, in these days? We're not on the mountaintop anymore. I would dare say we're not even on the plains. We're really trending into a shadowy valley. And that's a little disconcerting. It's a little unsettling. For some of us, especially if we're older or have health exposure, we're really unsettled by this whole mess we're finding ourselves in. Well, as we come together, I want to remind you that we've been preparing for these days for a long time. And specifically, if you think back to December when we learned about the nuts and bolts of Christianity and what it meant to change and to walk with Jesus on a day-to-day basis, we learned that there are 4 areas of discipleship that we should always keep in mind, that we should always take into account. We talked about our character and asked the question, how are we behaving? We talked about our confession and asked, how are we believing? We talked about our calling, the roles and responsibilities that we bear as human beings in this world, and asked the question, are we responsible and acting responsibly to those entrusted to our care? And finally, we talked about consolation. Simply, are you doing okay today? That's a real important question in these pandemic days in which we are walking, living, and finding ourselves. You know, I want you to think about those 4 areas, Shepherd family. And I want to think about especially what is God calling you to focus on and to attend to in terms of your spiritual growth and development these days. You know, for some of us, it may be an issue of character. As we go into grocery stores and we see people fearful and hoarding, they've lost a sense that there is a God who watches faithfully over all of us and provides for our daily needs. For some of us, we are asking confessional questions about the constancy of God's character. Our faith in God, our belief in God is being rattled. And in these coming days, we may want to spend some time in God's Word, being reassured that God is still on the throne. For some of us, many of us perhaps, we know that our callings now are taking on a whole new meaning. As parents, we've got kids at home and we're learning how to homeschool them for the first time perhaps ever. For some of us who are adult children, we've got aging parents who are going to lean on us in ways that we have not expected at this point in time. Our callings are changing. And finally, some of us need some consolation. We are walking through traumatic days with traumatic stress. At some point in time, a post will be added to that traumatic stress. We hope that our prayers and our life and the way that we take care of ourselves now doesn't lead to a disorder, but it could. And so we take that well-being of our souls seriously as well. Let me just simply ask you this. How is God calling you to follow Him differently in these days than maybe even just a week ago? How is it that your following is different as people look at you who are close to you and depend on you? I want to remind you that Jesus Christ, when He called His disciples to follow Him, gave them every grace. He breathed into them peace, even in the most darkest and closed upper room time. And that same peace, that same grace He makes available to you as well. You are not walking solo through these times of following Jesus in these new moments, these new experiences, these unsettling days. And more than that, I just want to remind you also of how that invitation Jesus gave to His first disciples, how that invitation ends. When Jesus says, "Come and follow me," He says, "And I will make you fishers of men." Following Jesus is not just for our own well-being. Following Jesus is for us also to feel the burden of loving and caring for those around us. And so, shepherd, remember to do just that, not only looking out for your own needs, but looking out for the needs of those around you. Keep going, shepherd. We've got many more days ahead of us. Thanks to God, we've got a lot of devotional thoughts coming from His words that Pastor Allen, myself, and other members of the Shepherd staff and family will be sharing. Until I talk to you again, God's blessings to you and His richest peace.